Hi, this is Simon from the Chair of Power in the studio. This is the first of the podcast slash inspirational little video segments that I'm attaching into Shedding Australia's newsletter. And what I'd like to have a quick chat with you about today is my dad. My dad, many of you will know, Robert Marshall Cadzow II. I was scheduled to be Robert Marshall Cadzow III, but Mum and Dad decided to go a different route, hence here I am. Dad, Robert Marshall Cadzow II, born 10th of April 1942, passed away 5th of January 2014. He had died from pancreatic cancer. Okay? It was something that really most people weren't going to beat if they were suffering from it. And he'd been diagnosed perhaps some 20 months before. When it came to his funeral, there was about 300 odd people who either showed up or sent an apology for not being able to be there. It was a lot of people, considering that my dad was a quiet guy and not very well known, I guess, in various circles. One of the people who came to the funeral was the Member of Parliament, Tony Zappia. And Tony Zappia made the comment that my dad had been one of the strongest influences in his life and in shaping the person that he was. This started me thinking a little bit about who Dad was. He was to me a gentleman. He was humble, he was quiet, he was uncomfortable with aggression. He was an easily bullied person, and he didn't carry a great deal of self-confidence, but he always had a smile. And if I think about it, he was universally liked. No one had a bad thing to say about him. People only had good things to say. He was also a person who wasn't silly. He was smart. He liked geography and he liked history. And he liked travelling and seeing these places that he knew things about for himself. He lived 26,203 days. And why am I talking about him today? Well, I guess I'm not so much talking about him as reflecting. I'm looking back at him and who he was and thinking about aspects, parts of his character, parts of his nature, the things that people remember. And I'm considering them. Reflection isn't just thinking, it's a little bit more. Reflection is about thinking, pondering, considering, giving serious thought, and then taking an active recalibration, taking a conscious decision to, after considering something, applying what those thoughts have taken you to. So in the case of Dad, I think about who he was. I think about what other people say who he was, and I think to myself, how is it relevant to me? Well, I wouldn't mind being remembered the way he was. I wouldn't mind being that kind of a person. So maybe I need to think a little bit about that. Is that where I'm going? Is that what is coming my way in terms of people remembering me? Big thought. See, it takes a lot to bring us to a point of reflection. It takes a lot to bring us to a point of recalibration if it's not something we already have in our lives. Generally, it's a big event. Generally, it's something like my dad dying. Well, what we need to do, I think, is perhaps take some time to reflect and make some conscious choices about our lives and how we want to live them, so that we can look back and say we did it the way we wanted to without having that event. Maybe it'd be good if we could just pause for a moment and take some time and think, where am I going? What am I doing? Where would I like to be going? What would I like to be doing? And then make some changes. Well, it could be a big change, it could be a small change. But if you haven't had a chance to look at a guy's last inspirational message about living your life, I encourage you to check out Randy Pausch, The Last Lecture. You can see it online. I've got the links that are attached below in the newsletter. And there's a long version and a short version. The long version is a lecture he gave at Carnegie Mellon. The short version is a little summarised version. Both of them inspirational, about a guy very similar to my dad suffering pancreatic cancer. Have a look, check it out, take some time to reflect and recalibrate. Look forward to talking with you in newsletter number 2.